Welcome to your intramural softball captains meeting. Today's meeting will be going over some important rules, not only on how to play softball properly, but also make sure everybody is eligible. Here's some contact information for you. You can always contact the campus recreation office at the number listed here and always at crec@nwmissouri.edu. This year, Katie Schmitz is the graduate assistant that's in charge of softball. Most of your contact will be with her. That is her email that you see right there. And then myself, Bob Lay, the director's email is right there if you have any questions. To have a team scheduled, you must have an account with imleagues.com. There is the website. You must go there, you must register, and all your players must register. You cannot be on a team unless you have an account. You must have at least 7 players to be accepted to be on a team. And then captains, you're taking the information quiz, which is what you're doing right now. Player eligibility. A player may only play on one team per sport. So that means only one softball team. You can't be a fraternity member and play on an independent team, anything like that. Also, students must be enrolled in 9 hours in the semester. Men play in the men's division, women's in the women's division. Grad students may play if they're enrolled in at least 6 hours. Anybody who participated in softball or baseball during this past academic year is ineligible to participate in that. If anybody's with the varsity team as of this viewing, they would also not be eligible to play. A pledge or an associate member of an organization may participate if they have not been on the roster of another team. Basically, once you play on one team, you cannot go and play on another team. And fraternity members, you can only play on one fraternity team. You cannot play on your team 1 and then play on team 2. Same with sorority, of course. If you use your name, if you do not use your proper name, you try to play under an assumed name, that will be a violation of the rules and could cause both your team and yourself to lose eligibility to play. You have to have a certain number to play. In softball, it's 5. If you don't show up by the game time, the game will count as a forfeit. You may call in ahead of time and default if you want to, if you do it by 2 o'clock on the day of the game. There's no protests allowed on any judgment calls whatsoever. The only thing you can protest is a misapplication of the rules, which we'll talk about a little bit later, or an ineligible player. Again, here's your default information. This helps out by letting teams know not to show up. But again, you can only default once per season. We'll make postponements through the campus recreation office. We'll make that decision for rainouts. They'll be made at 2 o'clock on the Monday through Thursday, the day of the game. Please do not call before then. We'll put it out on the IM Leagues account that you all will have. Rescheduling an assigned game. We really usually do not have any time for this. There's not very many slots available. However, if you know a week in advance that you can't play, you can contact the intramural office or look on IM League, see who you're playing, and what you'll need to do is call the captains of the other team and see if you can reschedule that. The captains of both teams will have to okay these requests, and the opposing captain, they're not obliged to change this playing date, but if they do both agree, they need to phone in or send email in to the campus rec office, and if we have that time available, we will plug you in. But please follow these steps. And again, mainly time, the only thing we'll be rescheduling for are for rainouts. Okay, here's some softball rules. We're not going to go over every single one of them, but we're going to mention some, and there will be a quiz on some of these later on. The ones highlighted in red are ones you definitely need to check out. And if this goes a little too fast for you, there is a link we'll have at the end that you can go and read all the rules before you take the quiz again. So rule 130, foul balls, ball hit by the batter. You can read through there, like it does not bounce past third base in fair territory. You can't. That's a foul ball. You can go through there and check on those a little bit later on the rules. 3-4, this is important. Shoes, they have cleats, they need to be soft or hard rubber. no metal cleats are not permitted. Metal baseball spikes, track spikes, football with metal tips, those don't work. And you do have to wear closed-toed shoes. That means no sandals, no flip-flops. Basically, tennis shoes or your rubber molded cleats work just fine. For 6 home runs, each team will be limited to 1 over-the-fence home run per their half inning. If you hit any more over the fence, then they'll count these as a single, and you'll have to force people around. In other words, if there's a person on first and you hit one over the fence, you'll now have a batter on first and second base. We do have a time limit. We'll try to play 7 innings. No inning shall start 40 minutes after the starting time. So if you start at 3:30, we will not begin an inning after 4:10. However, if the inning has started, we will complete it if the team that's batting last is behind. Substitute may take the place of any player in the batting order of that team, and that's legal if you have extra players. Players that do leave the game, Rule 5.3, and they want to come back in, they can once, but they have to occupy the same batting position that they had in the lineup. They can't go to a different position, no matter who they're coming in for. Again, you need 7 players to begin with, 10 in the field. All fielders must bat. If you have less than 10, it's not an out when they come up to bat. And you can use an extra hitter if you'd like. That means if you have an 11th player, they can bat, but they, of course, can't play in the field. And you can interchange those people every inning if you want to. Like one person bats one inning, then they get to play the field next inning. It can be somebody different the next time. 7-3, each batter starts with a count of 1 ball and 1 strike. Remember, this is slow pitch softball, so we need to get up there and make sure we're hitting the ball well. If you foul a ball out on strike 3, that is an out. And remember that it is a strike if the ball hits the mat or the plate. There's no height restrictions. They can throw the ball. Pitcher can throw the ball as high as they want to, as low as they want to, as long as it doesn't bounce on the ground before it gets to the plate. That's going to be a strike. And also the batter's out if the ball touches the batter while they are trying to hit a 3rd strike. So if you try to, you can't bunt or chop at the ball. If you use an illegal bat, those are all, you can also become disqualified for that. Protest. Again, a misinterpretation of the rule. This must be made before the next pitch in softball. All fielders leave fair territory in the last play of the game before the umpires leave the field. If there's an illegal player, the protest must be made while the players are still in the game and before the umpires have left the field. And if you have an ineligible player, you must file this protest within 24 hours written protest with the campus rec office. Again, no protest for judgment calls like if they were out or safe or ball or strike or fair or foul. Some notes, make sure you know that game time is forfeit time. If your game is at 3:30, you have to have 7 there at 3:30. We don't wait till 3:32 or 3:35. Please make sure you list all players' first and last names on the scorecard for the batting order. We don't need Skippy and high tops and things like that. We need first and last names. To speed up play and so people can get as much games in as they can, we do not have infield practice for the game, between the game, in the innings or before the game. Warm up out there, and then you just throw one pitch for warm up, and then we go. It's your responsibility to make sure all members of your team know these rules. In most cases, when we have a player argue with an umpire or supervisor, it's because they're ignorant of the rules, and that is not an excuse to yell at someone. So please make sure you pass these rules along. And again, we're going to show you here in a minute. Right here, you can find the rules on your IM leagues. Over there on those underneath where it says reference links, there's sports rules and forms. You click on that, and the softball rules or any other rules you want are on there, and you can download those and read a copy of those. You might want to do that before you take your quiz so you have that rule sheet in front of you. Make sure you take your rules quiz by Wednesday, September 5th by 11:59 p.m. so your team may be scheduled the first week. If that's not done, then your team will not be scheduled the first week and will not be scheduled until the captain's quiz is completed. We hope this was informative to you and was helpful to you, and that you pass this information on again to all members of your team so they can play softball and have a good time.